Okay, hello. Today we are continuing on. I am now doing fourth house, and I'm also still doing Aries Moon. And I find Aries Moon to be particularly interesting because I'm an Aries Moon. So the fourth house, that would be the house that's ruled by the moon. It is your Cancer, basically cardinal. It's a water sign, Yang, and it is right on the IC and at the bottom of the chart. And what does that signify? Well, that is where you live, or how things really are in your personal area, because that is your personal area of your chart. That is the northern hemisphere is the personal work a person does. Okay, and so it happens during summer solstice. So again, there's that a little bit more emphasis, and it also happens during or not actually during eclipse season, just after eclipse season, where you have when you have eclipses, you have like a 6-month shadow. So so kind of a high energy, highly intense location on your chart. And it is about your inner self. It's your story of your inner self in a lot of ways, or maybe your familial history or ancestry, okay? Your conditioning, your ability to break free, from a perspective of being your own human, of being a change agent, which, there are people that are just that, that they come into life and they break the patterns that a family may have long had exist. Okay, it has to do with listening, how we listen. In the moon, mother. Okay, and I want to say one thing on this. We think of it as the mother, but it's important to take note that it is whoever is the nurturer of the child overall in the course of their lives that you're going to find where your moon relation is. So what we gain or build as a family, who you are behind closed doors, is fourth house energy. Needs time to recharge. This isn't an energy that needs a lot of time to themselves. Again, that Yang. Okay, they need a lot of reflection, meditation in this house. It's how we approach our home life. Our memories, our imprints, our comfort zones, things we dream of that are part of our roots and our security. Now, security is generally second house, but in this regard, we're talking about just that collective time where you're aged 9 to 14, where you really started developing those connections as more of a maturing human with your parents, and having them be there and help you, guide you forward. Okay, and that's age 9 to 14. Okay, and also this house governs one other area that's really kind of important, and that is the end of life. Okay, and why is it the end of life? Well, we go back to where we came from. That's why. And where is home exactly anyway? We don't know, right? So that does make the fourth house, in that sense, somewhat of a mystery, does it not? So it's the spiritual house. It has spiritual significance because, well, when we go home, is home our physical building, or is home a spiritual location somewhere beyond us, somewhere beyond the veil? Okay. And what might be some medical in the fourth house? Well, chest, breasts, ribs, food poisoning, stomach, gastric, digestive systems, lungs, blood pressure, women's hormones, autoimmune or weak organs. Okay, and now, one of the interesting things, and how does this impact, because you're going to hear me repeat, like lungs, heart, you're going to hear that again and again as I go through each house. Well, why is it that in these blood pumping areas am I identifying those as fourth house? Well, because the blood receives heart the heart receives blood. Anything that receives blood in that sense is going to be a medical from the fourth house, because if you consider the moon, it receives us, it receives our information, it listens to us, right? Same kind of idea, same kind of metaphors. Okay, and so it rules the end of life. And when would you see maybe the end of life happening? Well, as a lot of times as Saturn goes over, Saturn-Mars, you might see, some things. They're not terribly, this house is not, in that sense, your social and outward. It's an internal, kind of almost moody, right? It sticks to its own, it's tribal, right? It's tribal. My husband is a Cancer. Several people in my life are Cancers, and yeah, we can have ourselves a good old time. And I have a 29-degree Cancer sun, and I'm Leo. So let that sink in. Okay. Basically, now let's go into what kind of things will we be seeing under an Aries moon. Well, they'll cut off loved ones when needed, especially on the IC. If they're right on the IC, that Aries moon is right on the IC, and again, that disposition. You got your moons, you got Mars, and that energy has to be addressed, right? And when you are Aries moon, you're going to tend to be a little bit restless. You're going to, and I again, for me, I make decisions rather quickly about relationships. I can be very cut and dried in some not so good ways. Okay. The happiness and the comfort in the fourth house, that's going to be a bit more comfortable, but remember, Aries, that Martian, that little bit quicker, that little bit more aggressive in a Yang house, where maybe that's not going to be as welcome. So there is some conflict here, because Aries moon moves quickly, motivated by mom, wants to please. That's going to be an adaptation. But mom, given that it's an Aries moon, might be kind of restrictive. And another really interesting detail, you might be talking about a father who was very hard with a moon, Aries moon in the fourth house. You might be talking about a father who was highly authoritarian and quite difficult, didn't get along so well with the mom, and it was difficult to overcome the problems. So, and in my case, I can say, mine's right on the cusp. So, under Vedic sidereal, it's just going to be in the fifth house is where mine is. But yeah, I kind of feel that fourth house part as well, and you have a tendency, because you are an Aries moon, that you're going to maybe want to merge with mom. You're going to kind of have a desire to really reaffirm that mom is okay with you and you're okay with mom. And again, that's going to be somewhat maladapted. Your Aries moon is going to rush in where others fear to tread. Okay, they're not going to be hesitant to jump in. Okay, and they've got that fire knowing. And again, that when you get your transits, and I'm just having right now a Saturn return in the second house. So I've been holding my breath, waiting for money. I'm one of those California special unemployment. I haven't received my money in months, and I'm so grateful my husband has a job, and he can support us, because, oh my God, how do people that are, not dual income at this time survive? It's very frightening, the times we're in. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the Guardian of the Night Tarot. We're going to knock the previous read out of it and shuffle it 3 times, and we're just going to ask the cards. And I love this deck for the Guardian of the Night, for just that kind of that intuitive, nighttime, instinctual, visionary conversation. I kind of have a vivid imagination, and I see myself as a very, very big whale, and very casually swimming in the ocean, learning to do my whale song. So I love the animal cards. They're really some of my favorites for instinctual type of information. So we will just go ahead and we will draw 5 cards, and I'm going to put the camera down for that part of it. We'll draw 5 cards, and let's see, make sure that's down far enough. Just put it down just a little bit more. Okay, I think that'll do. Okay, and I'm going to spread around the 5, spread the cards around and select 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Aries Moon. Spirit, just tell us a little more about the Aries Moon in the 4th house. I sort of understand it from my own perspective because I am impacted, and I can tell you that it can lead to some high-end drama if you are configured this way. About age 14 is about where my rubber met the road, and I started kind of really bucking hard to understand why it was my mom was not there. Okay, it starts out with the Hierophant, and if you notice that it's a rat, you know that to be an Aries Moon in the 4th house, you have to be kind of a go-getter. You have to be kind of a leader, and you have to be willing to take risks. And rats are interesting as they're highly complex. They're very complex animals. And this here rat, as you can see, he's instructing the classroom, providing them probably instructions on how to steal cheese without getting caught in a trap. So that would be an Aries Moon. Very nice. Very nice. And so basically, as an Aries Moon, that energy might be guided from on high. I wouldn't doubt it. I think that people who come into the 4th house with Aries energy, that 9 to 14 age, a lot of that is going to be energy that has experienced a good deal of pain and drama for sure. Because, like I said, Aries Moon is a mom that is maybe less than able to handle the responsibilities she has. This is her house. But there's a hint that the father itself might be just a little too authoritarian, and that nobody is really thriving under those circumstances. And, I can say that my dad, God bless him, he was an abused child, and part of how he adapted was he learned abuse, and so he carried that forward. And eventually my mom, in that sense, 4th house, ran away while I was age 9, so age 9 to 14. That's that developmental type of modeling that astrology can really kind of get in and help us sort out where we have these really big conundrums in our souls. And so, reminding us that those things that are sharp and difficult, this is that the Star card, that there's hope, that you can develop into a higher, more integrated you. But yeah, you might need to kind of seek, and you might have to be willing to do your spiritual work. And I know for me that is my story. I'm willing to do my spiritual work, and here I am. So we get the Star card, okay? And then we got a Knight of Wands moving in, that fiery energy, right? And it is a fiery energy, and this is that. It looks like a badger. And I could just tell you that, yeah, you're, as an Aries Moon, you are kind of a badger. I know me, I won't back down. I've got Sun conjunct Uranus, which probably doesn't help me to feel a need to back down when I should. But I don't back down. So, because a lot of times I find some kind of truth isn't being addressed, and therefore I have to instruct the classroom and help them see what all is wrong with that thought, right? And so, that's Aries Moon. We're just really, we're driven to be correct in some ways, and which isn't always the right thing. And what eventually happens, and boy, I think that is an interesting card. This is going to be our anchor card. So all cards will anchor off of, and this is our foundation. So, you know, kind of the foundation of things, and you know, that five, that balancing of life itself. And this here being the Hermit, a 9, a humanitarian, which, of course, I'm a humanitarian by name and also by, what is it, purpose? My brain's going to drop it. But anyway, the Hermit, you know, where that energy is something, it is kind of highly charged, and and a person who is Aries Moon may have to kind of decide, you know, look, you know, I can do this relationship or I can't. I know for myself, I've had to really put up a lot of boundaries where my parents are concerned, because in order for myself to grow, I had to recognize what was rationally mine and what was not. So, and plenty of it was mine for sure, and plenty of it was not. So an Aries Moon is going to be an energy, you know, you look at this, the Hermit, where, you know, it is going to be lonely. You are going to sometimes have to sustain on your own and be willing to do what is necessary to weave your own web, to weave your way forward, okay? And that being your anchor, okay? And then you get the Ten of Pentacles, you know, that that abundance, okay? That integrated. This is an energy that can do some beautiful work, some beautiful fiery work, and I think I see it as, you know, that at this time being the love we seek, you know, that this particular type of Aries Moon is going to be, you know, willing to be the champion for love and family. So, you know, that being, when we get the abundance card for that being Ten of Pentacles, right? Plenty, the land of plenty. And then we get the Page of Pentacles, where it is a watery energy in the house of, I think I forgot to mention that, in the 4th house is water. And this is a fire energy. And you notice that there is an octopus coming out of murky water and holding a coin underneath the moon, right? There could be some steam, there could be some friction, and there can even be something that kind of feels wet and tentacly upon the Aries Moon person, because of just the nature of the energy of that house being wet, or, you know, and the Aries Moon being fire. So, you know, we're talking now steam, right? It is a difficult placement, but I find that the most important part of that placement being that that what maybe becomes required of you is to define who you are, define your boundaries, you know, walking away from the crowd and looking at who you are separate from where you came from. And I just finished reading a book, Imaginary Crimes, and the things we find ourselves guilty of. And it's rather amazing that, you know, the first few years of your life, you know, when you're so dependent upon your parents, that if there's anything there that isn't going well, you know, the child then blames themselves. And I can say that in my case, where I have Mars in the 6th, you know, I'm always looking for a way to make things that don't seem quite right in that way in survival. I'm looking to make them right, you know, I'm looking to fix what I think is broken. And so, you know, that's codependent, and I've mentioned that before, and, you know, which Aries Moon is going to have, that's going to be one of our pitfalls, is learning to separate ourselves as this hermit and do the work we need to do so that we don't become codependent, to stay connected to those we love, because it is a little bit more of a challenge. And I can tell you, I have, as an Aries Moon, I've had some interesting relationship debacles, and I wish I could maybe make those not that way, but you know, we are who we are, and we bring to life what we bring, and so we do the best we can. So I'm going to put the camera up, And with that, I'll make sure that looks okay. Yep, that does. All right, with that, I thank you very much for joining myself here today, and I do ask that you go over to www.twiggie.com and check out our website. Pearl Rowland and I are readers. I do astrology, numerology, and tarot. And Pearl is currently in the astrology program, so she will not be offering astrology readings at this time, just mainly because she's not ready yet. But she is preparing herself. She's in school, and but she's available for tarot and numerology. And go check us out. Go check out our report. Go see what you think. And if you'd like a personal reading from me or my, like I said, my co-reader Pearl, we're both available. And I do thank you so much for joining me here today.